The second episode, Judge from Hell, starts when Bitna is about to kill Jong-joon, but just then Daein arrives in a car. And Bitna doesn't get the chance to kill him. Jong-joon wonders how Daein got there. And Daein responds, "You don't know how I came here." He then grabs Jong-joon's throat and tells him that he had warned him to stay away from Minnie-jong. Jong-joon starts telling his story, explaining that his mother left him when he was in high school. When his father remarried, he was thrown out of the house, and that's why he is the way he is now. Daein then says, "Not everyone is like you," and is about to hit Jong-joon. Business stops him and says, "You can't kill him, it against law." Just then the police arrive and arrest Jong-joon, accusing him of stalking Minnie-jong again. Then police takes Minnie-jong with them. Daein tells Bitna to come with him, and when she asks where, Daein doesn't respond and just asks her to get in the car. Bitna gets in, but the cross inside the car bothers her, so she tells Daein to get rid of it, asking, "You don't believe in God, so why do you have this cross anyway? You are not going to heaven." Daein replies that he doesn't want to. Bitna comments, "People who raise their hands first don't go to heaven." Daein then asks Bitna why she was with Jong-joon, and she explains that she wasn't doing anything wrong, just kind of following up on things. Daein takes Bitna to a crime scene, which is Minnie-jong's house, and tells her that something happened with Minnie-jong. Bitna already knew this, and Daein asks if she regrets her decision to let Jong-joon go away, like that, implying that because of her, Minnie-jong's life could have been in danger. Bitna replies, "Even if I had given him 1 year of punishment, what difference would it make? It could still happen next year." She adds that she acted according to the law, and such cases always happen, so how is it her fault? Daein then tells her that he will have an arrest warrant against Jong-joon, and at this time he won't escape. He will take him to court and says, "Not everyone is a judge like you." Before leaving, a scene unfolds at the police station, where Jong-joon is being interrogated the day, and asks him if he forcefully entered Minnie-jong's house, but Jong-joon denies it, saying Minnie-jong herself opened the door for him. The officer then asks if Jong-joon admits to assaulting her, but he denies that too, claiming she invited him inside. Daein questions why he went with Hammer to her house, to which Jong-joon says he went to check on her because she might need help. He then reveals that after he left, Minnie-jong attempted suicide. Shocked, the Jong-joon asks if she's alive, to which Daein responds that's what you wanted, for her to die. But she survived. The scene flashes back to Daein saving Minnie-jong after she tried to hang herself. Monju's mother weeps as she sees her daughter's condition, asking why she didn't listen to her and leave with her. Minnie-jong, in despair, begs to be left to die, stating she doesn't want to live anymore. Jong-joon is shaken by this, and he says that he can't live without her. When the officer suggests that Minnie-jong's condition are due to him, Jong-joon retorts that it's normal for couples to have fights, but Minnie-jong is being overly dramatic. The officer dismisses this and tells Jong-joon to save his arguments for court. At that moment, Jong-joon says that his 6 hours in custody and he is free to leave, and leaves. However, the team leader orders Daein to quickly obtain an arrest warrant for Jong-joon, intending to arrest him as soon as possible. As Daein leaves the station, he meets Jong-joon, who is texting Minnie-jong. Daein tells that he will take Jong-joon home, but Jong-joon declines. Daein escorts into his house and before leaving, tells him that he will be watching over him every night. Jong-joon watches silently as Daein leaves. In the next scene, Mando calls Bitna to check on her, but Bitna shows up in person. Mando asks if the task was completed, to which Bitna replies that it doesn't seem like it. Mando then offers Bitna a drink and they talk. Bitna reveals that Minnie-jong is still alive. Mando responds that the case is slipping out of their hands, but Bitna clarifies that while Minnie-jong is physically alive, she's mentally dead, adding that a mental murder is still a murder. Meanwhile, the officer is informed by Unseop News that the arrest warrant for Jong-joon has been rejected as to Jong-joon's cooperation with the authorities. Frustrated, the team leader instructs Daein to visit Minnie-jong's family. The scene shifts to Daein, who checks on Min Jong's father, warning him not to open the gate for anyone, and to call if there's trouble. As Daein heads back to the elevator, Jang Joon reappears, covering the security camera with cream and preparing to act. And when he was just about to ring doorbell, he receives a message and leaves. Meanwhile, fearful, she hesitates, as the voice outside claims to be an officer. Ninjiang nervously responds that the voice doesn't belong to an officer, but to someone else. Her father comforts her, assuring her that he will protect her, and tells her to lock herself in her room and call the police if necessary. Min Jong and her mother are locked in room. Her father, armed with a knife, approaches the door to confront whoever is outside. But when he opens it, he attached Daein, misunderstanding him to be Jong Joon, standing there overcome with emotion. Monju's father begins to cry and apologizes to Daein. Then Min Jiang blames herself for the tragedies that have occurred, feeling that her parents would have survived if it weren't for her day, and tries to comfort her, telling her it's not her fault. But Minju insists it is, admitting that she made a mistake by dating the wrong person and not knowing how to end an abusive relationship. Suddenly Daein receives a phone call. He answers, and it's revealed that Jong Joon has died. The scene shifts to Bitna, who is overjoyed, walking into her office with a smile. Bitna is asked why she is so happy, and she replies that she has solved the case. After that, she arrives at the office and is seen laughing. At this point, we are shown a scene from 12 hours earlier when Jang Joon receives a message from Min Jong, asking him to meet her at a remote location. She threatens that if he doesn't come, she will call the police. Jan Jang replies that he doesn't care, but Min Jong informs him that the police and her parents are with her and that she can't meet him there. Instead, she asks him to come to the agreed upon location. Next we see Bitna getting ready, putting on her makeup. Jong Joon arrives at a construction site, and as he goes further, he sees an empty house when he enters, calling for Min Jong. Then he sees Bitna there instead of Min Jong. Shocked, he hides his hammer and asks her what she is doing there. He hears Min Jong's voice and calls for her to come out, but Bitna steps forward instead. Jong Joon is stunned, and Bitna tells him that the real trial is about to begin. She asked him to admit his crimes. Jong Joon denies any wrongdoing, insisting that Min Yang is still alive and that she only left him with a fine. At this point Bitna pulls out a knife, causing Jong Joon to panic and run. When he opens the door to leave, he finds himself in a completely different place. Bitna tells him that he will now pay for what he has done. She then controls him, forcing him to sit down and eat. When Jong Joon says he is full, Bitna forcefully stuffs food into his mouth and slaps him. Jong Joon tries to fight back, but Bitna grabs his hand and asks for apologies and warns him that if he tries to leave, she will kill herself. Feeling trapped, Jong Joon tells her that he wants to break up, but Bitna becomes violent, hitting him brutally. Jong Joon tries to hide in a cupboard and calls the police for help. Eventually, the police arrive and take Bitna away, but she tells Jong Joon that she will see him again. Later Jong Joon goes home only to find Bitna already. There he is shocked and asks how she got in. He was about to call the police. Bitna tells him that she won't leave him. Jong Joon offers her money and pleads for a breakup, but this only angers Bitna further. She starts beating him again, this time breaking his knee, while telling him that he will never be able to leave her. Frustrated and scared, Jong Joon begins to cry. He hears Bitna's voice and, terrified, he tries to hang himself but saved. End. The story then returns to the present, where Bitna explains that this is all part of the trial. She says that the trial will continue until Jong Joon admits his mistakes. At this point Jong Joon, in desperation, asks Bitna if she is taking revenge for Ninjiang, but Bitna says she doesn't do anything for humans. She explains that she only punishes people like Jong Joon. Just then Mando calls Bitna, but she tells him she is busy. Jang Joon sees an opportunity to attack Bitna, trying to choke her, but she laughs and quickly overpowers him. They engage in a brutal fight, but Jong Joon is no match for her. Eventually he admits his guilt, confessing that he was wrong and that he is responsible for many Young's mental death. Bitna, hearing this confession, says that since he has admitted his crime, he deserves to die. She grabs a knife and kills him, leaving his lifeless body wrapped in white cloth. The next scene shows Jong Joon, body wrapped in with cloth. Police arrives there, says that perhaps the body was killed inside and then brought outside, or maybe it was left out to show a sign. When they go inside, they see everything is clean. There are no traces of the murder. Meanwhile, Mando is telling Bitna that everything has been cleaned up properly by a professional team. Bitna asks why she has never heard of them, to which Mando explains that they operate on a very low level in hell, which is why she wasn't aware of them. The scene then shifts to the professionals who thoroughly clean the area, ensuring no bloodstains remain and even repairing the walls. Mando tells Bitna that when he hired them to work on this justicial work, they felt quite proud of the task. The cleaning professionals are shown discussing among themselves, wondering why Bitna asked them to leave the body outside. Mando asks them why they were instructed to leave the body outside, and Bitna explains that she wanted to send a message to others that if they did something similar, they would face the same fate. Police officers are reviewing forensic reports, which reveal that the death occurred due to heavy bleeding. Their location tracking shows that the victim was last seen outside Ninjong's apartment and 3 hours later at a construction site where there were no cameras. When they examine the Jong Joon body, they see a word Gehenna written, which translates to hell. Mando brings several files to Bitna, who jokes that they'll have to read through all these files just to decide who to kill. Mando suggests looking at other places where they might find more crimes. Bitna asks him, saying she should become a policewoman. But he says she should be around Dayan. That he also jokes about how Bitna finds him adorable. Bitna brushes it off, saying the person doesn't even like him. Later a woman summons Bitna to Chief Justice office. Then she goes to see him. Chief was scolding her for letting a criminal go, saying that the person and their family could still be in danger. He criticized for how she dresses and wears makeup. When she asks if she looks beautiful, the Chief Justice yells at her, and she tells in return and leaves. Chief Justice commenting that if it weren't for the Assemblyman Jung, this situation wouldn't have escalated. While Bitna is having lunch, Dayan asks if she was scolded, to which she sarcastically replies, "Why are you so happy about it?" Bitna then asks who is this Assemblyman, and just then, the TV shows the Assemblyman involved in charity work. Bitna is asked if she really doesn't know him, and if she remembers breaking off her engagement day. Young tells her that the Assemblyman is from the same family. She once broke off an engagement with their eldest son. The Chief Justice comes to have a drink with Assemblyman Jung. While there, the Assemblyman asks about Bitna. The Chief Justice responds, saying that Bitna is fine, but has changed after that incident. Assemblyman Jiang suggests his eldest son meet Bitna, as she was once engaged to his son. Meanwhile, Bitna is driving home in her car with Mando, and arrived to her building when the owner of her apartment approaches her. Bitna tries to avoid her, but the owner mentions that there is a neighborhood party happening today and that she should attend. Bitna declines, but the owner insists, saying there will be snacks, and Bitna finally agrees to go. At the party, the owner tells everyone that they must fill out a form with her name and signature in order to file a petition against redevelopment. Bitna refuses to sign, saying she won't do it. However, the owner then offers to reduce her rent and removes maintenance fees if she signs, and Bitna eventually signs the form and returns home. Then shows Minnie Zhang, who had come to meet Dian, waiting outside the police station. She talks about how she is doing well in her life and thanks him. Then she tells Dayan that a few days ago, Judge Bitna had come to meet her at the church, where Minnie Zhang was praying to God, asking that her parents not be blamed for what happened, as it was entirely her fault. Bitna consoles her, saying that God will never listen to such a prayer and that she should never blame herself. After saying goodbye, Bitna leaves. Minnie Zhang explains to Dayan that earlier she was angry, but when she consults her, she is no longer upset with her. Then Dayan is driving somewhere, when suddenly Bitna comes in front of him, forcing him to stop suddenly. Dayan scolds her but Bitna says she had to meet him, because he was ignoring her. Dayan asks how she found out he was there, and Bitna explains that she called his companions and told them that she was his girlfriend. And I wanted to surprise you, that's why they told me where you are. Dayan gets angry and says how can you lie? Business says we should really date so we don't have to lie. Then she says that she has brought some food and drinks for him, and they should sit and eat together. Dayan refuses so she says okay. Then I'll sit with the police officer and eat, and we'll tell them how much we love each other. Then Dayan agrees to join her while they are eating. Dayan tells her that Minnie Jong told him that she met with her. Bitna responds oh. She must have been speaking ill of me. But Dayan says no. She said you were comforting her. Then she asks Dayan what he thinks of her. Dayan says he's confused about her. Then Bitna asks him about the criminals who have committed murders. Dayan says there are many cases, but he won't tell her any. After that Bitna sweetly tells him to have drinks. When he gets drunk, she asks if he knows any murderer name they have not caught. She insists him to at least name one day, and then agrees to tell her. But as he begins to say a name, Bitna ready to write it down. Dayan tells her his own name, and Bitna responds she already know his name. I want the name of the murderer. He says yes, I am the murderer, I've killed 3 people. Bitna asks how can someone who has committed murder become an officer. Dayan says he was young back then, and Bitna asks him if he regrets killing them. Dayan says what's the point of regret? Bitna asks has he apologized to their families. Dayan says their families will never forgive him. Bitna asks do you admit your crime? Dayan says yes, and admits that he deserves death. Bitna asks if she can meet the family, and Dayan says she's sitting with one of their family members right now. Bitna looks around but doesn't see anyone, and Dayan faints. Next morning, Dayan wakes up and finds Bitna still there. Bitna smiles and says she likes him because of his conviction, and he's also cute. Then she asks him to go on walk. When Dayan asks where they going to, which Bitna responds to hell, and with her knife she stabs Dayan.